Look in the monitor.
Oh wow. Yeah, that light is kind of bright on the guest face most nights. We got to get some.
You would make a great like Santa Claus though.
Ho ho ho.
For
it's good to be the Santa.
Like a seasonal job. I mean, obviously.
I would love to mic him up as a Santa.
How far down do you think my life has fallen?
It's the light overhead mic.
Listen,
I think
unemployment
not much you're gonna be able to do with that.
I think do everything we can, to combat that.
You would make it fun. They would ask for something.
Absolutely.
Like, I want a pony. Get used to disappointment.
Yeah.
Or something like he would be the best.
Life is empty and meaningless.
Like he would be able
material possessions are not going to bring you pleasure. Ho ho ho.
Oh, you know what though? The best would be. Well, go ahead.
Ho ho ho.
Can you please leave gluten-free cookies next time?
Almond milk.
Your fireplace triggered me.
Say hi to your
Welcome
mom
to the
for me.
show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, say hi to your mom for me. My friends call me 3D. Please stay tuned for the potential. Or what did we change it to?
The most.
Just the most.
the
Yeah,
most.
just the most interactive comedy radio show on the planet. Go to comedypipe.com.
And Bridget's already calling.
Click it. Click on the YouTube link. You can hit us up on Twitter.
We have to give her a nickname.
Comedy Pipe.
I mean,
she wants to be anonymous.
anonymous.
Yeah, I don't think she wants to be anonymous. I don't see
All right,
that at all.
fuck it.
Jefferson's here. Joe Green is here. Mike Howell's
Sorry.
here.
Tonight I'm Crockett.
Crockett.
apparently. Yes.
Okay. Jefferson, Crockett, Cal.
Yo.
And welcome back to the show. Dick Williams, how are you, man?
I'm doing well.
That is
I'm quite well. So I hear.
okay. That's a little depressing, but
I never know how to answer that because I don't know if people want me to be honest or it's just a pleasantry.
How you doing?
This is an honest show.
We'll be honest.
This is a safe place.
Things could be better.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
Don't be.
I'm surrounded by toys right now and 4 men in a basement, and I have some concerns.
Get him.
Well, the good thing is the toys only belong to one of the men. So
I just don't want to become one of them.
Do you want to touch my toys?
Not sure. Yes, and
Okay. Let me know which one and we can negotiate. This is a negotiation procedure with the toys.
All right,
Did you have any of these toys growing up?
Most
I mean,
people
I
just
don't
have
think
like
we're
a
that
regular.
far out of age range.
I didn't. I'm 46 now, so I remember these toys, but it was because my younger cousins played with them. The Transformers and G.I. Joe and all that. I'm old enough to remember the big G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
When I was very little.
The lame giant G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
They were like Barbies.
they only had 4 joints.
Yeah.
Like their arms could only move in 2 directions.
Yeah, they were.
The good old
lame.
days.
That's right.
Apparently, they're still worth money.
Oh yeah.
A lot of money.
I don't understand those. Those were kind of lame. I never got it. Transformers being worth something, that I understand. I understand the value there.
Yeah. It just depends on the plastic mold.
Yeah, exactly. And what print is on it. You know?
Nerd stuff.
Yeah, nerd
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Most people have like a computer, like a tower or whatever, or a laptop. I don't know what it works. I just have a phone, but they have this. That's liquid cooled over there, and he made that case. That's all.
What's
Computer
liquid cooled?
stuff.
His computer.
Yeah.
Oh.
It gets so hot he needs to cool it with liquid.
Yeah, you can take your headphones off for a second. Look at it. I mean, it's fucking crazy. And he has
like it's an exotic fish or something.
It's
No,
fucking
get over there, go
nuts.
see it.
It's like there's a Hyundai, right? And then there's like a Formula One car. That thing's nuts.
Well,
So the toys are nothing compared to like this thing. And he also has a
Tech.
flux capacitor
Yeah.
insert that he put on it.
to do what? What do you need this kind of equipment for?
Oh, it's a
To
full, it's a
seduce
full flight
children.
simulator,
Oh,
virtual
the flight
reality.
simulator. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's where we're playing the games. So
Right. Okay.
all that
The
you know,
video games.
virtual reality is kind of life changing in my opinion.
You know, cancer hasn't been cured yet, right?
It's okay.
It's all right.
But
I
you were
see
working on something important over there with a cooled computer system, and like you're hacking into the
Liquid
DNC or
In
something.
its spare time, it is looking for
Listen.
extraterrestrial life through the SETI program.
There's a
So
lot of
I-
accusations going around this show
When you
already.
see a setup like that, it's like it's this or he was going to be a serial killer.
I'm
glad he built
pilot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey,
Then I
if
bring
it
my
keeps,
real pilot friend over.
if it keeps kids safe,
There you go.
The real pilot still likes it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
No, I think it's
I
impressive.
pretend.
It's amazing. I loved it when I saw it before. It's astounding.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, this
20
is
years.
fun.
Yes, I don't know why.
So what do
Great
you have
tangent,
coming
Joe.
up?
I just
So the Lost Boys,
What?
what are
The
they called?
Proud.
The Proud
The
Boys.
Proud Boys, Gavin McGinnis and them.
I'm sorry I never fixed your microphone.
Whatever.
The Proud Boys, this whole thing that happened with Lark Tattoo, it's
I'm
just,
still not completely clear on what happened over there.
It's another example of people who have the right intentions, these social justice warriors. Everybody wants social justice, as far as I know. Of course, there's groups that don't, whatever. But they take it way too far.
Oh, yeah.
And so the people that have been bullied historically are now bullying other people, whether they're people who should be bullied or not.
They're not good bullies, though. They're like
Horrible
annoying bullies. You know what I mean?
Right. They just
That's an
get
awesome
people
insult.
fired or out of their jobs. So Lark Tattoo is a locally owned tattoo shop, and there was an anonymous post on some blog saying that 3 or 4 employees of Lark Tattoo were members of the Proud Boys, which is a fraternal organization.
Yeah, I know who they are.
But for the audience,
Dipshit.
for the people, they're a group they call them alt-light instead of alt-right, because the group is actually for, like, anybody can join, any male who believes in Western culture. There's black members, there's Muslim members.
Sure.
It was started by the guy who started Vice magazine, and he also started the hipster movement, which, if anybody's going to be mad, they should be mad at that.
Yep.
Because I do not like hipsters. But they're trying to lump that group of Proud Boys in with Stormfront and the KKK, and it's not even remotely close to that. But because people work now under the assumption that, well, it's close enough, they're just attacking all these people. Yeah. So the employees that were members of this group, they were basically called out, their Facebook profiles, their Twitter profiles, all of that. And the people resigned because there were going to be protests and boycotts of the tattoo shop.
No shit.
And the first thing that I thought of is, since when are we holding tattoo artists to such a high moral standard? Like, as long as they're not selling meth, I'm pretty cool with whatever they're doing.
I believe tattoo places now are much cleaner and safer than the tattoo parlor I hung out in for a while downtown Schenectady.
And that's why I won't give you a blowjob.
Yeah. No, I fixed their computer. That's why I was there and hung out forever.
Yeah.
That was not a safe space. It was fun. It was exciting. You know, it was crazy times for when I was 16, 17. But yeah,
it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not.
And they've done tons of tattoos on transgender people, gay, lesbian.
Oh yeah, there's no bias
what was the issue? It was
just because they were
employed there.
That's it.
Just them being in the Proud Boys. Yeah.
Okay. There was no inciting incident where, you know, something happened and then they rooted these people out. Somebody just rooted them out, and because it caused such a stir, because everybody wants to be on the quote unquote right side of history, they've managed to hurt a local business that wasn't a member of the Proud Boys and get all of these people out of jobs.
Yeah.
It's a witch hunt. We're in McCarthyism.
Really it's crazy.
Salem. Yeah, Salem.
I agree. I think the optics
socially
of
burn
it
them.
were not good. In other words, I looked at it from a kind of a business owner's perspective, in the sense that, like, okay, my business, whether I knew or not, is irrelevant now. Like, if you look at the Times Union article, when the Times Union actually reported on it, you know, a reporter put their name on the article, which the blog didn't do, but they interviewed Chris Foley too, because one of the employees worked at Chris Foley's too. Chris Foley just put out a boilerplate statement that said, what people do in their off time isn't concern of us. We don't represent terrible values. Whatever. The ownership of Lark just put out this ham-fisted statement, and that, not that I had any dog in the fight or anything, but I looked at it like, how can you be that dumb? Like whatever.
Like, was it groveling?
It wasn't groveling, but it was defiant in the sense of like, people can do what they want on their off time, which is fine. I agree with that. But it was just like, it felt like the ownership took it as a personal attack. And whether you feel like that as a business owner, as someone, you know, as a staple of the community, like Lark Tattoo is, just put out a boiler, you know, don't swerve into the flames.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know, just put out a boilerplate
but
statement that says,
tattoo, they're artists.
and that's not,
they're artists.
Sure.
And that's how they react to that kind of attack sometimes.
absolutely agree.
You know,
But
not
like,
pragmatically
but
like a
going
car
off of it,
salesman.
Say, hey, I rent it. You know, we rent booths. These are independent contractors. Distance yourself from it, from that aspect of it.
I disagree, and I think that they shouldn't have changed their apology. They shouldn't have apologized at all. And this is so ridiculous.
I don't think they should have apologized either.
You own a business.
Yes.
And I would like to welcome our new sponsor, Cahill Auto Sales.
Yes, Cal's Auto Sales.
Cal's
Auto Sales.
Yeah, but so people can actually
address
find
and phone number now.
559 Broadway, Manans, New York 12204.
Is there a website?
There is calsautos.com.
Now imagine that there was an anonymous blog that people treat as if it's a journalistic article,
Right. Which is
calling you out
on its face
about
ridiculous.
a bunch of different stuff, because say you made jokes on stage and they misinterpreted it or whatever, or they didn't want to know all of the information.
Sure.
Somebody just had it out for you. That takes away your livelihood.
Absolutely.
How would you respond?
Pissed.
Again, pissed.
Injustice. Pissed.
Yeah, because
Like, this isn't right. Pissed. Yeah, really.
That's what
free 3D.
they're doing they did to Lark Tavern what had been done to gay people. Oh, don't go into that business because I heard that there's a gay owner there and they prey on children, which isn't true. But these are the tactics that have been used against them. So you would think that they would not use those tactics against other people, especially innocent people, in my view.
But you do what works.
Yeah. So let's close.
Did they also pee in beds in Russia?
Yeah. Don't start.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean no start?
Going from local to global real quick.
Hell yeah.
That's a Trump thing.
Pee in beds in Russia?
You didn't hear about that?
Do you know who the other person was? It was Trump and some other guy.
They peed in the bed?
Yes. No.
He got peed on.
I know. I thought it was
yeah.
You are facing a lot of legal issues already. Are you sure you want to go doing this?
That's what it was, completely debunked, but it was just one of those stories.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't make any sense. If anything, he's going to do the peeing.
That's true.
I don't know. He looks like, again, in my view, he looks like the type of guy who would have the woman lay under the glass coffee table while he shits.
I think last night I saw the greatest Trump phenomenon ever.
Because you get all of the humiliation and all of the degradation,
but she's not dirty
without the contact.
Right.
Yeah.
She's not dirty.
How did it get to this so soon into the podcast?
I don't know.
People taking a shit.
It's only an hour.
But on glass,
coffee table. Yeah, I get it.
It's classy.
What do you mean? It
It's
took
classy.
12
It's
minutes
glass
longer than
coffee
normal.
table.
I'm still shitting on you.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm
not touching
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry.
Now we're going to have sex.
I didn't mean to.
Here's my main issue with social justice warriors. They aren't able to, when they lose the argument, when they don't have the argument anymore, because I'm willing to be persuaded. And I actually believe in a lot of the stuff that they believe in. I just don't take it to the extreme. When they lose the argument, they just throw out any label to shut people up. And because people are afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe or homophobic or any of those things.
Still don't know what a xenophobe is, though.
It's when you're afraid of aliens.
That's what I thought it was. I hear it all over the news, and I'm like, we found aliens?
You know,
like
illegal aliens.
Isn't it just it's xenophobia is nationalism, isn't it?
Yeah. But
monarch butterflies are
It's
Mexican.
way better to think it's aliens.
We should build a butterfly net and make them pay for it.
The whole thing is they will label people that. Those people that are labeled that will defend themselves that they're not, which you can't do. You can't say I'm not a racist with any proof.
Right.
And people won't jump in on that person's behalf because they're afraid that they're next. It's exactly what happened during McCarthyism.
It's like the Scarlet Letter.
The Red Scare, yeah.
Yeah, all of these Hollywood writers were blacklisted, and nobody would associate with them or stick up for them because they didn't want to be tainted as Russian operatives and communists. And so these people had to write under pseudonyms. A lot of them just didn't work anymore. And it's incredibly dangerous for people to be doing this. That's why if somebody calls me a name now, I don't
Not
give a
giving
shit.
anybody any room to have an opinion and just say, okay, and it just slides through socially without some persecution.
Yeah, nobody pushes back. I push back all the time on the internet, and it takes up way too much of my time.
I get a kick
I
out
love how
of it.
the last time we saw you, it was like, what are you up to? Just making enemies.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things on
No,
Facebook.
yeah.
I swear to God.
No, I'm not on Facebook a lot, but when I do go scroll through, I mean, this was a while back. I think you said you were no longer going to give advice when asked.
Oh yeah, I don't want to go too much into this, but
Yeah,
there was because
it was very interesting to read. I'm like,
well, it's all been settled at this point, but there was I did a show and I said hi to all the other local comics, and there was one person that was there that I didn't know, and I thought she was with one of the other comics. It turns out she was a comic, and when I said my full name, she goes, "Oh, you're that guy that only goes after young girls, right?" In a very kind of attacking way. And I go, "What? I've never met you before. What are you talking about?" And so then it became I go after underage girls and that I'm a predator in the community, none of which is true. And
see, when I made the joke up to your van, I didn't know any of this.
Yeah. So, so I posted that because the only way to fight against that stuff is to go back at them, not run and be scared. I said, look, if this continues, I'm going to hire a lawyer. I'm going to screenshot all the stuff that's been written and said, and I'm not going to let my reputation, which is all I have, be sullied by this.
Sure. That sounds like real defamation.
Right. And so that person wound up apologizing. 2 weeks later, her and another comic asked me to take them in my van that doesn't have windows or seats in the back to a strip club, which I obliged because it was fun, because they know me a little bit better now, and they realize that I'm not a danger or anything. I dated two younger.
That's your right.
I dated two younger women. That was all the big hubbub.
That's easy to do when you're over 40.
Yeah, and and I took them there, and I actually had fun, and they're great people. I just think that the one girl, she was, a lot of stuff was being put into her head, and people are so quick to attack straight white men now, especially if they're older, God forbid.
Yeah, obviously a racist.
But if you're 70 and you date a 65-year-old, like, oh, you're robbing the cradle. I'm
right,
almost dead.
Well, I actually heard from another one of the female comics. She said,
it's a hang up.
I'm sorry, I contributed to it. I kind of warned her that he might flirt with you or hit on you. I said, wait, you warned her that I might hit on her? Is that somehow a crime now? That I might show my interest in?
No, that's just a heads up.
A person?
Yeah.
Like, that's predatory behavior? Yeah. Hey, would you like to have a coffee sometime? Rape!
Yeah. In 2017,
Rape!
Yes.
It's like, what the fuck is... Everybody's gotten so fucking crazy nowadays. It drives me nuts.
As it should.
Yet I'm the only one being sued.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah.
This guy's got lawyers. Watch out.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my.
Like Shia LaBeouf. I got millionaire lawyers on retainer.
Are the young lawyers? I did hear
that. Fuck that guy so much.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
That's an opinion, but fuck that guy so hard.
Yeah, that was
I fucking hate him.
Oh man, I bet you he's just like Rich Williams, Dick Williams on Facebook.
I was waiting for him to say, "Don't you know who I am?"
He pretty much did with that.
Yeah,
one.
but to quote it, because it's been done by celebrities that are smashed out of their minds.
Sure.
Don't you know who I am?
Oh, this is terrible. Did you see the Pablo Francisco thing?
Yeah,
that sucks.
What happened?
I know Pablo a little bit. And he's had a struggle with.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why it just popped into my head, but yeah, no, that's.
Bring us up
he
to
fell.
Speed,
he was at a club in Sacramento, I think, on stage, and he fell off the stage. He was messed up, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was supposedly reportedly on drugs, and he was in a loop of saying the same things over and over again. And he was in crisis basically, and people were videotaping it. He wouldn't get off stage. They turned the lights on, turned the music up, and all this stuff. He had to be taken out by an ambulance, and I just hope for the best for him. See, that's the thing.
He tweeted, he said that like he's feeling a little bit better, like, and it seemed like he was going pretty hard. Like he was on a pretty like decent loop, if I remember correctly. Like I went back a little bit and looked at
Groundhog Day.
no, I meant as far as like the shows that he was doing. Like he was on like a whatever it was,
circuit.
like a 2 or 3 month run or something.
Oh
like
no,
that.
he's like a huge.
Yeah, no, I know.
comic, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I've always looked at comedy and comics as like a special group, like a fraternity or sorority, where we're supposed to support each other. Because if anyone should know how difficult it is doing this, it's other
Someone who's
comics.
doing it, right.
But here's the problem with that. There's only one problem. Y'all want to spread the love, but when there's a douche,
It's not even the love. It's
just
the support.
there's
It's
just
the
a
respe-
douchebag,
It's love.
and
respect.
it's hard to get around that.
Yeah,
and then that
respect.
person becomes the black sheep, and that's the way social anything works.
Absolutely. But comics, in my opinion, should not go out of their way to try to blacklist or blackball somebody.
Agreed.
Not
or
unless it's
hurt
warranted.
them. Like
Right.
pull them
They're-
aside.
they're gonna
Keep it
be-
in house.
They're gonna people are gonna run into that you're not gonna get along with. But yeah, no, to actively go after somebody is not.
unless they did something that breaks some of the main rules of
Code,
comedy,
yeah.
like stealing
Yeah.
somebody's jokes or bashing comics, that type of stuff. I think you should push back on. But I mean, I don't know. There's a comic in Vermont, Caleb, and I never know how to pronounce his last name, Teskey, and I'm just saying his name so he'll listen. But
He just texted me.
he it seems like, and I don't have all the facts, I have basically one side of the story. I was involved in defending him because, again, nobody wants to defend anybody anymore. But he's been blackballed by the only club out there, the Vermont Comedy Club. He's not allowed to even enter the place, and he's starting out. He doesn't have tons of credit or tons of power behind him. And I've heard that the local comics in that area are threatening to boycott venues that he does open mics at and stuff like that. And other comics who do shows with him are going to be blackballed as well. This is what it's all over. A few months ago, he was in a Facebook discussion about whether or not there's ever an okay time to call a woman a bitch. And it got heated, and he says that he got attacked pretty hard,
It's a pretty honest
roughly.
question, though.
Right. He said, yeah, there's certain instances, and this one woman was really attacking him, and he's not friends with her on Facebook. So he sent her a private message, which she screenshotted and posted. It says, yeah, but you are kind of a bitch, with a winky face emoji. That's what started all of this.
Didn't you get the winky
Wow.
face? Did he have to write
Right.
JK at the end of it or
Right.
something?
And she didn't see it for 2 months. And then she claimed that she feels unsafe going to comedy shows in that area. And Caleb has done this to numerous people. Like, he's a bit of an asshole, but he's an asshole to men and women.
Yeah.
He didn't threaten anybody. He called one of the other female comics a cunt in the back and forth in their personal messages. But they have had those types of conversations before, from what I understand.
In real life.
Yeah. Like, that used to be the
Life
great
book.
thing about hanging out with other
Yeah,
comics.
I've
You
heard
could
women,
say
like, you're-
anything.
Yeah, like you're seeing someone, you're friends with someone, and they see a friend, and they're like, "What's up, slut?" And they're like, "Hey, whore," and then they
Right.
go and they hug.
And so what bothered me about it
You've
was,
never seen that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So okay.
Of
Thank
course
you.
I've
Thank
seen
you.
that.
Thank you for not
Yeah.
hanging me the fuck out there,
No.
guys. Just on the radio nodding.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well,
I was
There's
laughing
video over
into
there.
the mic.
Yeah, but
so
Yeah,
What's up, cunt?
he apologized to that female comic. She accepted it, but told him to apologize to the other non-comic who posted the screenshot. And he said, absolutely not. I don't think that she deserves an apology. I didn't do anything crazy. So that the female comic he apologized to blocked him and then went in on him in this group, this Facebook page that he was blocked from and couldn't defend himself.
Yeah.
It's maddening.
Oh, yeah.
blood in the water. Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Know a little something about it. So
Yeah, well, stand-up comedy, this is what the part that infuriates. If the whole culture is arguing about all this stuff, that's fine. But now the social justice warriors have infiltrated comedy, and they're trying to police
this was supposed to be
speech.
a safe space.
Right. A space where you can say anything you want. If it's not funny, the market will decide. But for them to be
How many
calling
viewers do
people
we have
out,
right now?
94.
for people to be, for
That's
other
a sandwich.
comics to call them out based on not liking the person's opinion.
Yeah.
Like Lenny Bruce must be rolling over in his grave. George Carlin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that the whole point of comedy is to be able to say whatever you want. It was the beacon of free speech.
Now, the bloody Trump head. What's your opinion on that?
When I saw the picture, I wasn't sure which one was the fake head.
Agreed.
That
is the best response. I all of that shit. That is the best.
I read
if
a lot
anyone
of
asks me,
Fox News, and a lot of the times they'll just throw the Kathy Griffin crying photo at the end of articles for like I'm reading an article today about the healthcare bill being like shot down in the Senate. At the end of the article, somehow they tied it in to Kathy Griffin crying. Just a still shot, and it's worse than the initial photo. It's so bad. That whole thing.
Put
Fuck
some
her too.
On
Ooh,
for crying out
Ooh.
loud.
Yeah. The apology was
my life is over. Do you know the Secret Service came to my? Yes. I'm not surprised one bit that the Secret Service showed up to your door because you held up a severed head of the sitting president.
Yes. When the Secret Service visits you, they actually hand you a list of things. They're like, severed head of president. That's why we're here. There's a little check mark, like a landscape.
That's 12C.
Like
it looks like a Chinese restaurant menu.
We're gonna need
like,
that now.
Are you eating a fucking sandwich in the middle of it?
Did you get that from Fresh Out?
He loves doing that.
Joe, did you get that from Fresh Out? That's not Fresh Out's sandwich? You said he had extra sandwiches.
Yeah, Fresh Out.
Does Fresh Out make
I think my issue with the head is the premeditated nature of it.
I love that no one around her, told her, like, this is a bad idea.
Right.
Yeah.
No one said that
like
to
you had
her.
to think about this with other people and get ahead and bloody it and go through it.
But that's the point he's trying to make. Like Ted Nugent has been like, yo, presidents, whatever, we should kill the black, he's been fucking harsh.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Depp recently, like to do the opposite. There's Ted Nugent and then Johnny Depp is like, when's the last time an actor killed a president? Like, it's equally stupid and shitty.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's his point. Like nobody's giving, but that's a joke. That was incendiary, but still it was free speech.
And to go full circle to what you said, Rich, is the market will decide.
Yes.
Right.
You're gonna say, that's
you're gonna vote with. You're gonna do whatever with your wallet,
right.
regardless whether it's a tattoo shop. It doesn't. At the end, the reality of the situation. You can write on Facebook. You can do whatever you want, but the reality of the situation is people are gonna vote with their wallets. And I know a few people who work at Lark Tattoo, and business has actually ticked up a little bit since this whole thing.
I hope after a month or two passes, and so does the story in Lark Tattoo.
And there are different variations of business upticking. There are people that have called in and said, maybe like extremely
just don't go in and ask for a Gavin McInnes tattoo.
They'll give it to you. Why not? You're gonna pay for it. That's the point.
The beginning, like the impetus of all this was, if it was just a fraud, it was like a hoax or somebody shit talking. It wasn't actually true.
No, it was shit talking. Like,
they are members.
They
of
are
the Proud Boys, but they were painted to be.
They weren't that proud. It was.
Well, it's like saying, he's from Schenectady, so he's got to be a drug dealer.
Right.
Well, no, there's different parts of Schenectady. Are there drug dealers in Schenectady? Yeah, but
drug dealers in every county.
Right, exactly. So,
every good city has one.
I didn't run into. I was up down in New York City last month, and walking through Times Square, one of the guys that's out there trying to sell CDs, he's trying to sell me a CD. Asked where I'm from. I go, I'm from Schenectady. He stops and goes, oh. They sell a lot of drugs up there.
It is part of the triangle. It goes from.
Did you say you want any? That's what you should have said.
You want tradesies?
That's true. The thing with Kathy Griffin, of course, nobody told her in her surrounding circle that this is a bad idea. No. First of all, I support her right to do it. I personally didn't like it. I thought that it was ridiculous.
I'd still go see her perform though.
But she
maybe
when she apologized.
Would you have seen her before though?
When she apologized, she didn't apologize to Trump.
No, she didn't. No.
And when she had that spectacle of a news conference, she made it all about how she's the victim of something that she did.
Yeah. That was the worst thing she could have done. I thought you're going to do the effigy thing. Then just
own it.
You
got to own it at that point. 100%.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's not what I would have done. I was actually on the shitter, and I was like, Kathy Griffin's blah blah blah, and I was like,
Yeah, TMZ confirmed.
I didn't go after that. I was like, all right, and then everybody else's reaction. I just went to work.
Yeah, right.
I didn't. I was like, all right.
Yeah, and she's got some funny stuff.
I've seen a burning Obama.
Right. Exactly.
So it's
what will
on
she
balance.
do on New Year's now?
Right.
What
Oh,
will
but
she
she's a
do?
liberal. She's not supposed to have these feelings.
Well,
Bullshit.
Yeah, but here's the difference, I think. There is such a climate now. There's a difference between a regular citizen that has no kind of fame doing something like that, which I don't think is a good thing to do. They shouldn't burn Obama. I liked Obama.
Oh yeah, no,
I
I'm just
voted
saying.
for him.
That's
The
why they
visual.
shouldn't do it.
I'm not the visual things. I've seen these
right.
before.
But when it's celebrities doing this, when it's at such a when everything's at such a fevered pitch, when they did that Julius Caesar play where they're killing the president, like
which they've done. They did. I mean,
Hundreds and
again, they've
hundreds
done
of
it.
times.
I'm not saying. I'm not justifying
no,
that.
I know,
no.
but I'm gonna refute your argument. Go ahead, because I know what you're gonna say.
I'm not saying that they, because they did it for Obama, but like
When did you find out they did it for Obama?
when I fucking read the article, obviously.
When did you read the article?
Like when the Trump thing came out.
Right. Because it wasn't national news that it was done about Obama back then.
That-
Only news.
If you
Yeah.
Google it,
Sure.
you'll only find recent articles except for the one from the city in Minnesota that they were doing it. There wasn't this much turmoil in our country. And so when it was done,
Right,
it
I'm
didn't
not-
make national news.
Sure, I'm not making an argument, but I'm saying I'm essentially agreeing with you. Like it's happened in the past. Right. Why now is it such a large deal?
And I'm telling you why. It's because people think that Trump is a Russian agent, that he's a Manchurian candidate. Like the media, CNN is the worst. At least
none
MSNBC,
of what you just said sounds
CNN.
uninteresting, though.
CNN is fantastic. What are you killing?
they're
you kidding me?
so horrifically.
You're one of the only people
anti-Trump.
that still watches it. Then
I watch it
'Cause
because
their
it's on,
ratings
it's on a
have-
TV at work, closed captioning, and all I do is look up periodically to see what hot chick is trying to tell someone a lie.
Oh, Fox
Yeah, I
has
don't
way
care.
hotter chicks.
I don't know. There's
Yeah, they've got a
CNN's
really
not,
weird dress code.
Maybe I should switch it over to Fox first.
Yeah.
no,
Legs for
definitely.
days on Fox.
Specialists,
Somebody in the
5
break room
o'clock.
keeps putting it on MSNBC, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No,
What is wrong with you?
Rachel
Chris
Maddow.
Matthews.
This is horrible.
Mm.
Chris Matthews, big old
Dude,
head.
did you ever see high school
It
pictures
is-
of
it's
Rachel
like a
Maddow?
fucking
Rachel Maddow,
bowling
by the way?
ball.
No.
Holy fuck, she was hot as hell.
Kelly, what's her name? Kelly,
Megan Kelly?
Megan
Meg
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah, she's local girl.
Local girl.
Local
See, you know
girl.
what?
Yeah,
You know what's funny?
fantastic.
This is how
I can't participate.
I know. I have been so overly sensitized to all this stuff that I'm like,
Wanna
I
see Megan
can't
Kelly?
say anybody's attractive. I can't talk about women. You said local gal, and that's
Local
offensive.
gal.
Like honestly, if
Wait, local gal is offensive?
gal can't be used, girl
What about
can't
Dame?
be used.
This local dame.
What about Dame?
This
Can
local
we-
broad.
Yeah, we're right there. at that.
Look at
Well,
the
that-
getaway sticks on that meteorologist. It's the 1930s.
This a female friend of mine.
You can't call a loose woman a loose woman anymore.
none of that.
You can call
What about a
literally
runaround
wait.
Sue?
It's the-
Loose women are fucking celebrated
Wait,
in
no,
Amber
no,
We
Rose's
saw a loose
slut
woman
walk.
outside.
You can't
We
call it
certainly
loose
did.
on the air. It's stormy.
Oh,
You have to call it stormy.
Dorm? Wait, what?
Stormy.
Was that
Yeah, when
new?
you're on the air. Slut.
oh,
It's very
Duh.
stormy. Wet and
Is
wild.
that new?
Yeah,
No.
that's crispy.
You,
Crispy.
people are so sensitive now about language. They don't realize what happens is when you ban a word. Carlin did a great bit on this about the N word. I don't like saying that because I know it
There's no reason to.
Whatever.
Exactly.
You covered it.
But please constantly interrupt. I lost my train of thought. Oh, when you ban a word, the word retarded. That used to be a medical term. My Uncle Billy was retarded. I make jokes about that, but you can't say retarded. So what do people do? They say bosies. They
Yeah.
make up other words. They say potato now for people with Down syndrome.
do they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have the same. It's the
Okay,
same number
see,
of
I'm
chromosomes
gonna.
or something. and the two. That's what somebody told me recently. Which is worse? Like, which would be worse? To call somebody a potato?
No.
Because
See, potato is cross verb. It's I don't know.
Google potato meme.
But you like in a lot of the forums, I'm a geek. Like if
Oh,
someone posts
'cause of the
like
eyes.
a lame computer or whatever, they call it a potato PC. You know, oh, you're
Oh, it's
gaming on a
not?
potato. That's so it's grown legs. It's not just.
I
that
thought
anymore.
potato was internet slang for a shitty photo.
No, see,
I'm not lying.
See, when this whole
No,
potato
it means Down
phenomenon
syndrome.
started, all this. No, see, potato on PBS. There's a show, and this one kid, all he says is potato. All he says is potato.
Google potato meme.
That's what I did Google.
Yeah, well, look at the other ones because that is the least offensive.
That's my great. That's fucking.
I love the
awesome.
one with the little girls on her belly.
Okay,
She's
yeah,
got
he's
her hands
right.
in the air. I'm high on chromosomes.
But potato is used in PBS shows. Maybe
funny.
it's subconscious.
that is
But all this
funny.
kid says is potatoes, and then they sing potato, potato, shala-la-la. It's a
but
potato
I'm
thing.
sure that's a different thing on PBS.
No,
That's
he
a
just
totally
then he
different-
holds up a potato.
It's a context.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They let
didn't hold
retarded
up
kids
a
on
potato.
PBS?
You know
Oh,
that
it's-
potatoes that has a different meaning as well. It's a vegetable.
Yeah,
got starch.
They're not trying to sell the.
It's a tuber.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
So-
We pass that around a lot.
you're
in the
not
early
able
days
to
of-
call women.
I have my ups. I have my downs.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting because like you're saying the other way. Like you scroll on Facebook and it's like, oh, I met this guy, it didn't work out, and it's like one of the comments would be like, men are fucking trash.
Of
It's
course.
like, and it's like, well, yeah,
Yeah. And
but
so are women.
So are exactly people.
Yeah, it's
You know?
human beings.
Yes.
We're a species of mammal, and there's certain inherent behaviors and traits and characteristics that have existed since the beginning of time, since human beings have been around, and they've changed through evolution. But evolution doesn't happen in 2 years. Everybody wants all this shit to happen right now. It does. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I've made up my own bullshit labels to put on comments, and it works. Like I call people whitophobic if they say anything that's against straight white men, and I just wrote whitophobe. And the person who did the post said,
that's a new word.
said, wait a minute, no, I'm half Irish and half Scottish. How can? So they started defending
Fuck
themselves
you.
as if they were being called an Islamophobe.
You made them feel. Oh shit!
No, it
Oh,
was
God
great to
forbid.
turn the tables with
Yeah.
just nonsense.
Exactly. Their nonsense was met with you made them feel,
Right.
and then they went into defensive mode
Yeah.
because oh my god, my feelings. I was called a thing that I know I'm not. You are.
I told my friend,
Totally
Deep.
my friend's supposed to get a camera. I'm going to find a gay black Muslim and suck his dick, and I want him to take photos so I can have proof that I'm not Islamophobic, I'm not racist, I'm not homophobic.
You live in Schenectady. You haven't run into one of those people yet?
I know, man. Hit a rock.
Muslims
Hit
don't
one with a
particularly
rock.
like gays, so
Just one shot, and you're done.
That's the other-
pun intended.
Yeah, no, but they'll be on the down. All right.
the deal.
The DL. The DL, yeah. I watch
Make sure to
Rat
check out
documentaries.
Dave Canyon's podcast, Dumbing It Down with Dave,
A blowjob from a.
the fastest podcast on earth. That's what he sounds like.
Sorry, that was
It's
fucking
Kia Rio.
Only the ladies.
Islamophobic. Sorry.
When,
Dumbing
when,
It Down with Dave.
when I grew up, my generation was taught treat everybody equally, judge them by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, race,
Yeah.
religion, any of that stuff. Now
Maybe blood.
now
type.
it's the opposite.
Maybe blood type. Yeah.
Now it's the
I'm okay with
opposite with these millennials. They want to be known for their race, their religion, their gender, their sexual identity, everything except for content of character.
Exactly. It's like I don't want to know all that
The
shit
college
against my will. Like, if you meet someone and you click, whatever, that will happen. But I don't need. I just in my face. It's like it's okay. Like I'm this transgender, gender fluid, blah blah blah. Yeah, but what's your favorite cheese? Like,
Well, they use it
Right.
as
Let's connect
a
on
way
human
of
level.
showing
Yeah.
how oppressed that they have been because of in intersectionality, they check off these 4 boxes. And it's like, I just think of you as you.
right.
Like everybody's had their own struggle. I'm an orphan. I'm disabled. Like I have fucking mental illness. I'm on
You're
lithium.
Santa Claus.
None of that is any kind of excuse for my own behavior. And it's not an excuse for not succeeding in life. we're in America. There's a lot of people who've been very successful in all of these marginalized groups.
I think he would be a great Santa because he would cut off the second two O's, like the ho ho. He would cut off the last two. He'd be like, "Oh, Santa, ho."
Okay. I now I just want to see it.
There would be no rule of three on the ho.
What's-
It would just be the one.
We'll talk after the show. What's your booking fee? I want to book you as Santa.
I'm
The Santa rate.
here's the thing.
That's
Santa what?
the Santa rate.
Oh, with a T. Oh my God. Woo. Whoa.
I have been accused of being Santa my whole life, and this constant war on Christmas is really starting to affect me. I'm going to go into the remodeled bathroom over here as my safe space.
Excellent.
And I don't want to hear any words.
When did they start
Words
calling
make
you
me-
Santa? Because it looks like you haven't eaten in a while.
Literally just tonight.
Oh my God. They're monsters, those
I was about
people.
to say, I think he shaved since we saw you a couple weeks ago.
No, I'm trying to grow it out.
Yeah.
I do a character now on stage, Sicky Funk Buckle, that I did a long time ago, maybe once or twice.
Is that what you did the Wu-Tang video? Is that the guy?
Yeah, with the wig and the southern accent.
Mm-hmm. I like
It
that.
allows me to say a lot more crazy shit.
Mhm.
A little more freeing.
Yeah.
Slight anonymity.
Yeah, well, also because if you any kind of accent to me on stage is always it makes the material infinitely funnier. So if it's like a hood accent, yo, what up? What good, fam? These bitches out here. That's funnier to me than me just saying these bitches out here.
Yeah.
Or a gay accent, and there is a fucking gay accent.
There is.
That's not homophobic.
No.
It's like
It's fat.
the back
It's gotta
bat
be.
signal for cock.
Why would you say that?
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
always accurate.
Exactly.
It is not always accurate.
everybody does that, but
But
when gay comics talk like that, it's especially funny to me.
Yeah.
And when Southern comics have an accent, it's very funny. Or British comics. So I'm trying to keep my same material, not write anything new, and just make it funnier by adding an accent.
it's not a bad
remember-
concept.
I remember. This is a side story. I remember over the summer when you were doing the writers groups at Comedy Works, there was a Southern comic who has since moved on, said something
Texas Mike.
on stage, and or you gave him a tag. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was it was extremely racist and offensive, and it killed the room. It was a great line, but and Dick goes, "Oh, see, you got to get on stage and say that. Like, if you say that, that'll be funny." And it would have been funny, but also, like you said, up here, and Mike said it on stage too. If he goes, "That's a lot funnier coming from you out of your mouth than it is mine, solely because of my accent." And they both were right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's a perfect example.
We're in a comedy club. Like that's
no, I know, but you just ascribed to me a tag or a joke that's extremely racist, but you can't say what it was.
I can't remember what it was.
Right, so how?
Well, that's a me problem. That's a
No, I know, but
that's a drugs and alcohol thing.
I know, but I'm not going
I
to
know the
just.
context.
I'm not just going to go along with it. And go, yeah. I
No, it
often
wasn't-
think
I
of
didn't-
extremely
I didn't
racist
say-
jokes to give to
Did I
people
say
at a free
extremely
seminar.
racist? I said
Yeah.
extremely offensive.
Yeah.
I
No,
said
you
extremely
offensive.
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 I said
Serious.
offensive.
You said
Oh,
racist. Play it back.
there you go. It's
Yeah,
exactly
offensive.
this is exactly the point Dick was making.
You have sandwich on your face.
All right, I don't know. Thank you, though. Thank you. That's a good friend.
Why
Yeah,
is it
good friend.
racist if I say that black people like to celebrate high school graduations at Red Lobster? That's something I find true in my life. I want more scrimps. Or you said all you can eat scrimps, and I want scrimps. Now, is that racist?
No.
I don't think that it's racist.
No, we've all heard her.
Yeah.
I went to
That just
like
sounds like Walmart.
I went to Mount Pleasant High School. Half of it was black, half of it was white. We all
Yeah.
seemed to be able to get along. I had a black guy living in my house for
Differences
quite a
are-
while.
They're fun.
It's my black brother,
Yeah.
Al Perryman.
There's no Red Lobsters around here.
No, differences are fun. That's the
Wolf
thing.
Road.
Wolf Road.
Yeah.
Like we're all the same.
Let's
that
go.
sucks. We're not all gray.
You ever
We're not
driven
all
by
in
a
the
Golden
uniform.
Corral on Sunday at noon?
Differences are
Mm.
fun.
I'm working.
You see, I when a fella's approaching me on the street, I don't see color. Okay, What I notice is that my wallet's in my back pocket. I need to move it to the front pocket. Now, I want to ask you, everybody listening, the guy that's approaching me in that joke, what did he look like in your head? Because in my head, it's just another white dude. So you're the one making it racial.
I was thinking clown.
Yeah. See, well, with a
Scary
clown,
clown,
I would
yeah.
fucking definitely be
Yeah,
afraid.
I don't trust them motherfuckers.
John Wayne Gacy kind of ruined clowns.
They found another. They tied another victim to him like today.
John Wayne Gacy?
Yes.
Wow, topical.
Oh my God.
The clown killer. Yeah. Did you? Yeah. You watch the news all the time. They didn't fucking run that.
No, I got rid of DirecTV.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
'cause I
Oh,
was
that
just-
okay. That explains the internet. All right. You do have a lot. No.
Well, no, I would watch CNN all day long.
Oh, it's
Just to argue with them in my head.
oh, it's terrible. They're
I'm like, fucking come on, Don
You
Lemon.
do that too? You watch
oh,
stuff to
Don
get,
Lemon is just.
do you watch stuff
then you
just to
went
get
through-
pissed off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then he
do
went
I.
and befriended him.
But that's why, yeah, I don't watch Fox News. I watch Tucker Carlson because he brings on people that disagree with him and he debates them.
He eviscerates them.
I like debate. But CNN, it's just a panel. Like there's one super weak Trump supporter on there, and then 6 anti-Trump people, and they just fucking bash.
That's the same for
It's
every
like-
show. Like they do the same thing on what's it, Bill Maher's show, Real Time. Same thing.
He's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a Trump supporter.
No.
He bought the head from
Did you watch? Have you ever seen? Oh, you don't watch Fox News. You didn't watch
I'm gonna
Fox.
stop.
I watch Fox News
Fucking
once
idiot.
in a while, but
The Specialists.
no, I never watch that stuff. I used to hate Fox News. I used to hate Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, I did too.
I've been a liberal my
Oh,
whole
Rush is
life.
so entertaining.
However, now that I listen to it, I started listening to it when Bernie Sanders was getting fucked out of the Democratic National
He got
Yeah.
out of the primaries.
Oh, dry cocked.
Like that's a legit like fucking with our election that
Yeah. Oh,
everybody
yeah.
there's proof of and all that. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's,
But they're all upset about the Russians where there's no investigation that has produced any evidence. The
No,
FBI is not even allowed to look at the DNC servers.
No.
And everybody's up in arms over that. We have actual proof that the DNC
Fuck them.
and Donna Brazil and Debbie Wasserman Schultz,
Schultz.
who's back in the news, like stay away.
yeah, no.
They tried
waiting
to
for her-
rig it for Hillary Clinton.
Oh no, yeah, they totally did like the biggest.
And then
to
she's-
me anyway, like I the first Second Amendment, they did the third thing, which is they tampered with democracy.
Yeah.
These champions
Yeah.
of the people, fucking cunts,
You want to hear about a real champion
pulled
of the people?
that shit. No, they pulled that shit, and that was just no. That's I can't believe.
A real champion of the people, Peter J. Gaylor, Landscaping and Excavating. Go check out their website at
Thanks for following that with what I just said.
I know. Complete landscaping, installation, design, maintenance, a deep-rooted company. Go check out their website.
Say the
Peter
website.
J.
again.
Gaylor. Yeah. P-J-Gaylor.com. Yeah. Great website.
So Hillary's
that out of the way.
okay.
You think it'd be this
Nah.
insane?
No, she's
Because then she's got the balls to go on TV last Friday, right? And be like, well, you just hit that glass ceiling. It's like, no, you are a fucking terrible person. That's why you like you just
there's the glass.
you're
ceiling.
awful.
But
We've
she won
had-
that popular vote.
Well, that's the thing. And I even said it last night on stage.
Why is that job the glass ceiling? Astronauts, doctors, surgeons, pioneers, fucking
Well-
heroes. And but her job is like it's the glass ceiling, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it is. No, she didn't cure shit.
Right.
I agree to a degree, though, that is a glass ceiling because
Yes.
that is symbolic, the leader of the free world.
Yes,
I think-
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah. The problem I have is that when she claims it's a big part of why she didn't win was misogyny. So
Yeah.
there's all this misogyny out there that prevented her from winning. Well, how can that be true? And she won the popular vote.
But you've asked. I mean,
Yeah,
you like
negates
we're
it.
socially curious people. Like we've asked people. Like I'm surprised when people say they voted. Like people that have said I voted for Trump. I'm like, no shit.
Mhm.
Like not like oh I thought you were smart or snarky. Just like
Sure.
no kidding. And women that I know that have said why I voted for Trump. Why? I really didn't like Hillary.
That's
she's
been
a
the
she's a bitch.
Yeah.
She's just I mean in worse words.
Sure.
Cunt and twat.
anyone I've asked too,
Other
that's
ones
been the same
that I'm just gonna-
consensus.
yeah.
It was her Just and
which is not misogyny.
no, it's not.
Rich,
It's
do you
just
find Hillary to be a cunt or a twat?
Well, that
I don't want to get into calling her names.
No, I'm quoting the people I
Yeah, I
spoke
know.
to. I'm not saying that
I-
at all.
I
I
threw
think
it
she's
into
a
a
wonderful
stupid question.
person.
Like I
and
said,
she shouldn't have returned the fireworks. I would have still had the display. It would have been wonderful.
I
it's the
think
faux.
I was actually
It's the
for
food.
Hillary Clinton when she was running against Barack Obama, and I guess that makes me racist because I was supporting a female candidate.
Mhm.
Or it could be that I liked people's policies, and that's why I support who I support. But then when she was running against Bernie Sanders, I've always liked Bernie Sanders because he's always been Bernie Sanders. His positions haven't really changed. And he was out front for gay rights, for civil rights, a lot of that stuff way before it was cool. And so what I don't think the Democrats realize is once they started fucking around with the primaries by scheduling fewer debates, putting them up against football late at night, so not a lot of people watch them.
Very manipulated. Yeah.
The news, CNN especially, and it came out in WikiLeaks how a lot of members of the press were helping the Clinton campaign. When they would say to Bernie supporters, no, you're being crazy. This is a conspiracy theory that anybody's trying to rig the election against Bernie Sanders. I would watch this stuff and then I would Google news articles and information to get to what the truth might actually be because they were gaslighting us. Mm-hmm. And so then I would find it out and I'm like, oh, wait. And then I would find out other shit like what the Clintons did in Haiti and the Mark Rich pardon, which I remembered from when it happened, and all of this stuff. So they got all these people really riled up to prove that they weren't crazy. And then after Hillary won the nomination, they continued not believing the media and kind of cross-checking all these supposed facts. And that's when people really turned on Hillary.
Bad person right there. Bad person.
Yeah.
I don't know about her being a bad person. Bernie was good. She cheated. Her and Wasserman, they cheated. That's just simple. And I still can't believe he won. I'm still surprised that night.
Well,
I woke up and it was a pile of crying college girls on TV, and they weren't happy crying.
Oh, it was great watching on CNN in real time the meltdown.
The first
7 o'clock, it's like, oh, all right, well, you know,
I remember that. I remember
8 o'clock, like, oh wow,
Florida.
Wow.
I remember that lady on CNN or whatever. She was like, and Florida goes to, and she was like, she had trouble getting it out.
Donald Trump. 9 o'clock rolls around, it's like. And then, like,
when it turned.
Wolf Blitzers by 9:30 is like sitting there, like sweating, you know, waiting for the cane at the Apollo to like pull him off. Like, it blinds. And I think there was a lot of hubris involved too on her side. Like, there was entitlement. There was the black guy. Now it's my turn. Like, that's the way I perceived it.
Well, yeah, because she didn't
go to Pennsylvania, Michigan. Like,
there's so many reasons why she didn't.
They all bought into their own bullshit.
But I think it feeds into that to the idea of her being this elitist.
But think about this: like, you're Hillary, it's mine,
right?
And you lose this fucking guy,
right?
That's your joke that I do.
Your joke,
stage.
yeah.
I say,
no shit.
I feel. Sometimes I'll start the show. I go, you know who I feel bad for right now? Hillary Clinton. It's got to be so heartbreaking and infuriating. You know that she's walking around that bedroom in Chappaqua going, I can't believe this. I won the popular vote. I had the media on my side. I had Jay-Z and Beyonce doing a fucking concert for me. And Bill's over in the corner. You lost to Hitler. First you lost to a black guy in America, and then you lost to Hitler. People must really not like you. You know I won twice, right, honey? Hey, don't hit me with the phone.
Who still has a landline?
They got
old people.
They got one.
Like that.
They got one.
But yeah, I think that unfortunately our society, because of the technology where everybody needs to share an opinion, and through our liberal colleges have been taught that Americans are bad, our country's horrible, and that straight white men are the worst in the world, and all of this. Do you really truly believe that is the opinion that is tough? Like, because I can buy into that up to a point. In other words, as a person, like
and again, I'm a white guy, so I'm part of the problem, I guess. But
Goddamn right you are.
you can tell the difference between
you cisgendered asshole.
At least he isn't British.
I don't know. I feel like the way you say that is very it's just as much as propaganda as the other side's trying to do. Like
Dude,
that Columbus is.
Have you ever
no,
sat next to an
What's going
Indian
on,
guy on a long flight and he takes his shoes off?
No,
That's where prejudice comes from.
let me.
that's where privilege comes from. Also, that I haven't.
First class. Wait, what?
I do screenshots of this stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. But your iPhone 7 is a lot different than a college campus. Where you know what I mean?
Have you seen Evergreen College?
Berkeley.
Who? Evergreen College, where they had a day of absence where all the white students and white professors were supposed to not show up to college that day. And one white professor, who's very liberal, he's a progressive, he said, I don't think that this is a good idea. I'm going to teach my class. They basically surrounded him, the students, white, black,
Sure.
the whole rainbow, screaming at him. There's videos all on YouTube. Why are you shrugging your shoulders?
I'm not.
Because he went to work?
I'm not.
But hold on.
Denying that
The
this happened. I'm
president
shrugging
of-
my shoulders because that's fucking insanity.
Right.
So
it is insanity.
but again, I feel like that's all. Again, that's
I need to
what
hear
the other
more-
side does too.
I
You're
need to-
cherry.
no,
I need to hear more of what
No.
Dick has to say.
I'm not cherry picking. You just said I feel like it doesn't happen. I just said one example. I'll give you more examples now. So at the Dyke March, that's what it's called. I didn't make up that name.
It holds back water.
The day before
It's
the
Dutch.
gay pride parade, there were Jewish lesbians, Jewish dykes that were in the parade, in the Dyke March, and they had the rainbow flag for gay pride, and they had the Star of David. They were kicked out because they thought that Palestinian dykes might find that they don't feel safe because they would see the Star of David. The woman who reported on this lost her job from a LGBTQIA magazine because she reported on it. This shit is happening all over the place.
Crazy world.
Yeah, insanity. That's why I'm shrugging my shoulders.
I know. It's
I-
really all you
that's-
can do is like.
And what's
It
more
blows my
insane-
because again, I've that wasn't something that was taught in school when I'm not
Right.
We're like 11. You know, it's not a huge.
There was
the
this-
Palestinian-Israeli Dyke conflict.
Yeah, no, that-
1512.
we went over
still
that.
goes on today.
We went over that.
There's something that
Ad
happened
nauseam.
recently that was, it's a shame. This young woman, I believe she's 17, she's Muslim, and she was killed by a guy. They were coming out of early morning prayer for Ramadan, the last day of Ramadan, I believe. It's a bunch of teenagers. They were at McDonald's. They were breaking their fast, and this guy came up with his car, and he was trying to hit a bunch of them with a stick. He grabbed her and killed her and threw her in a lake or something like that. So all of these activists said it's anti-Muslim, it's a hate crime, this can't happen in our country. Money was raised, all that stuff. Turns out that it was a road rage incident done by an illegal alien. He was from El Salvador. It had nothing to do with her being a Muslim. But people wanted to latch onto this stuff to make it seem like something it's not. Most people I know get along just fine in person.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. I think again, because it's what's reported
At the very
and
least,
it's
get along. But play with each other's differences, have a sense of humor
Sure.
about each other, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's so much fucking fun.
well, I guess that's what I'm
when
saying.
someone's short, someone's tall, someone's black, someone's fat,
Right.
someone's skinny, someone's this. You get this.
I feel like that's where the disconnect is in the
Stooges.
media and real life. In other words, like you and I can have a one-on-one interaction. We have differences of opinions on numerous things that we've talked about,
Right.
but we can still interact. And I feel like that's where the divide is, and that's where it's obviously the most dangerous. But again, it's ratings and all that stuff too. So
Well, if
These-
you're a comic in Vermont,
So you're coming out of the closet.
and you jokingly say to someone that they're a bitch,
I
or
was
even
saving
if,
it for next week.
if you call somebody a bitch in
Right.
a private message that you're not friends with this person and put a winky face emoji, and if you called other people bitches and assholes and all that stuff, you no longer are allowed to live your dream.
Yeah, no,
That's a real life consequence with someone I know.
right.
That's not even one of the 7 dirty words either.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think that brought us
Winky
back
face.
full circle from the beginning of the show.
Back to
Carlin
local.
and rolling
And
over.
we are now at the end of the show.
Spinning in his
Well,
arm.
cocksucker motherfucker.
One last thing I just want to
Sure.
say.
Yeah, go ahead.
People don't realize what they're doing is the opposite of what they are intending by making everything a big deal. Oh, this is a protected class. This is a protected class. You can't make fun of them. It's just like everybody talks about 1984 by George Orwell.
Yeah, sure.
They should read Animal Farm because people don't want equal treatment anymore. They want special treatment. When I'm performing comedy, I treat everybody the same. I think that it's racist not to tease black members of the audience. If I'm going to tease white members of the audience or Latino members of the audience, everybody has a sense of humor. It's usually white people that object to it because they think of minorities as their fucking children. They're not. They can handle themselves.
Yeah.
Go on World Star.
Yeah, they've been through way worse. Right.
Yeah.
Way worse than words.
People
I
of
mean,
Walmart and World Star.
Yeah.
Sums it up.
Yeah.
Well, Dick, it's been great having you on the show again.
Thank you.
This got really kind of more philosophical than I think any of us were planning on. So,
Well, last time I came
It's
out
all
and
right.
talked about hypnosis and being whatever you want to be.
This was much
so less
So it's like,
philosophical.
what did you become?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, what did you become?
Vivian Thomas.
Good job.
I don't know. Rich
Proud of you.
hypnotized me over the summer, and anytime I
can't-
see burnt sienna, I just start.
I can't
Doing
be
terrible
hypnotized,
things.
so
Right.
that's
Yeah.
probably why I
The
don't-
color.
Okay.
Oh,
He put that in
He's,
my brain.
he's anti-hypnosis. You hear this, racist?
That's right.
You
He says
hypnophobe.
Hypnophobe, that's
Hypnophobe.
right.
See, yeah, see, I was looking for something.
You're anti-intellectualism.
Give me that Scarlet H.
Doesn't that just mean you're dumb?
Make sure to check out our
Don't even
sponsor.
gussy it up for me
The
here,
famous
sir.
Upstate
Yes,
Guns and
But
Ammo.
that's how you say it to someone with an inferior lexicon.
For all
Oh,
your fine hunting
and
and artillery needs. UpstateGunsandAmmo.com. Make sure to check out our good friend Dave Cannon and his podcast, Dumbing It Down with Dave podcast. The fastest podcast on earth, going to and from work, recording his thoughts and pragmatism, and telling you how life ought to be. Email at dumbingitdownwithdave at yahoo.com. And of course, Peter J. Gaylor, Landscaping and Excavating, a deep-rooted company.
If we had enough time, I'd talk about my cousin Kelly, but that's only for Scott Andy, who lives around the corner. My cousin brother. Never mind.
next time.
Do you need an extra
Hell of a
2 minutes?
teaser.
Good night, Scott.
I love it.